The stars had never looked so dangerous. Captain Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of the EDF Valiant, watching the red dots appear on his tactical screen. Each dot represented an alien warship, and there were 37 of them heading straight for Earth. "Sir, they're big," Lieutenant Amy Rodriguez said from her sensor station. Her voice was steady, but Jake could hear the worry underneath. "Each one is about 20 times bigger than our ship." Jake nodded. He had expected this day would come eventually. Earth scientists had been picking up strange signals from deep space for months. The signals were clearly artificial, clearly intelligent, and clearly getting closer. Now the owners of those signals had arrived. The Zephyrian Empire had been conquering star systems for 300 years. Their massive dreadnoughts were like floating cities, packed with weapons that could burn entire planets. Supreme Admiral Vexthala commanded the fleet from his flagship, the Eternal Dominion. To him, this was just another routine conquest. "Report," the Admiral ordered his tactical officer. "The third planet shows signs of a primitive civilization," the officer replied. "They call themselves humans. Our scans show they have barely reached their own moon. No advanced weapons, no energy shields, no faster-than-light travel." Admiral Vexthala studied the data. The humans had some basic technology, but nothing that could threaten his fleet. Their largest weapons were chemical rockets that moved slower than his smallest fighters. Their cities were unshielded and vulnerable. This would be over quickly. "Deploy standard conquest formation," he commanded. "We will give them one chance to surrender. If they refuse, we will demonstrate the price of defiance." On Earth, the emergency meeting had been going on for 6 hours. General Frank Cooper sat at the head of the table, looking at the faces of Earth's military leaders. Everyone in the room knew they were facing impossible odds. "How long do we have?" asked Colonel Lisa Martinez. "Our deep space sensors show they'll reach Earth orbit in 18 hours, replied Dr. Kate Sullivan. "At that point, they can begin bombardment whenever they choose." The room fell silent. Everyone knew Earth's military was no match for an alien invasion force. The Earth Defense Force was only 5 years old, created in secret when the first alien signals were detected. They had 12 ships, all experimental, all untested in real combat. "What about the other project?" General Cooper asked quietly. "Doctor." Sullivan glanced around the room. "Still in development. We need more time." "Time we don't have?" Cooper replied. Captain Morrison's voice crackled through the communication system. "Earth Command, this is Valiant. We have visual contact with the alien fleet. They're even bigger than our scans indicated." Jake watched the alien ships approach through his viewport. They were beautiful in a terrifying way, sleek and dark, with energy crackling along their hulls. Each one could probably destroy his entire fleet single-handedly. "Lieutenant Blake, signal the fleet," Jake ordered. "All ships prepare for engagement." Lieutenant Peter Blake activated the communication array. "All EDF vessels, this is Valiant Actual. Execute formation, Charlie. Remember, we're not here to win this fight. We're here to learn everything we can about these aliens." The 12 ships of the Earth Defense Force spread out in a defensive formation. The EDF Valiant led the group, followed by the Defiant, the Resilient, and 9 other vessels. They were humanity's first and only line of defense against the alien invasion. Admiral Vexthala watched the human ships approach on his main screen. They were tiny compared to his dreadnoughts, like insects challenging a giant. But they were moving with purpose, not fleeing in panic as most primitive species did. "Interesting," he murmured. "They mean to fight." "Shall we destroy them immediately?" asked his weapons officer. "No, let them make the first move. I want to see what these humans are capable of." The first shot came from the EDF Defiant. A bright blue beam lanced out toward the nearest alien ship, striking its shields and dissipating harmlessly. The alien vessel didn't even slow down. "Direct hit, no damage," reported the Defiant's captain over the radio. "Their shields are stronger than we calculated." Jake wasn't surprised. Earth's weapons were designed to fight other human ships, not alien technology. But that wasn't the point. Every shot they fired gave them data about alien shield frequencies and defensive systems. All ships, execute hit and run pattern Delta, Jake ordered. Stay mobile, keep firing, and record everything. The human ships scattered, moving faster than the aliens had expected. They darted between the massive dreadnoughts, firing constantly and changing direction unpredictably. The aliens returned fire, but their weapons were designed for ship-to-ship combat, not hunting small, fast targets. They're quick, Admiral Vextala admitted, but their weapons are useless against our shields. The battle continued for 20 minutes. The human ships danced around the alien fleet, firing their weapons and gathering intelligence. They couldn't penetrate the alien shields, but they were learning valuable information about alien technology and tactics. Then disaster struck. The EDF Courageous took a direct hit from an alien plasma cannon. The ship's hull cracked open like an egg, spilling atmosphere and debris into space. 18 brave men and women died in seconds. "Courageous is down," reported Lieutenant Rodriguez. "No survivors." Jake felt the loss like a physical blow, but he couldn't let emotion cloud his judgment. Continue the mission. All ships maintain formation. 2 more ships were destroyed in the next few minutes. The EDF Steadfast and the Guardian. Both fell to alien weapons, their crews dying to buy Earth precious intelligence about their enemies. "Sir, we're getting overwhelmed," Lieutenant Blake reported. "Should we retreat?" Jake looked at his tactical display. 9 ships remained out of the original 12. They had accomplished their mission, gathering detailed scans of alien technology and tactics. Now it was time to save what they could. "All ships, execute withdrawal pattern Omega," Jake ordered. "Fall back to the asteroid belt." The surviving human ships turned away from the alien fleet and accelerated toward the inner system. They were faster than the alien dreadnoughts, but not by much. The aliens gave chase, their weapons reaching out across space to try to finish off the fleeing humans. The EDF Valiant shuddered as an alien beam grazed her hull. Warning lights flashed across the bridge, and Jake could smell smoke in the air. But the ship held together, her crew working frantically to keep her flying. "We're losing power to the engines," reported the chief engineer. "I can give you maybe 10 more minutes at this speed." "That's all we need," Jake replied. "Take us into the asteroid field." The human ships disappeared into the maze of rocks and debris that orbited between Mars and Jupiter. The alien fleet followed, but their massive ships were too big to navigate the tight spaces effectively. After an hour of fruitless searching, they gave up and returned to their invasion formation. Admiral Vextala studied the battle reports. The humans had fought bravely, but they were clearly outmatched. Their weapons were primitive, their ships were fragile, and their numbers were pathetically small. This conquest would proceed as planned. "How many enemy vessels did we destroy?" he asked. 3 confirmed kills, replied his tactical officer. "The remaining ships escaped into the asteroid field." "And our losses?" "None. Minor damage to 2 ships, easily repaired," the admiral nodded. It was exactly what he had expected. The humans had shown courage, but courage alone could not overcome superior technology and numbers. Tomorrow he would begin the bombardment of Earth's major cities. Within a week, the humans would surrender. Jake Morrison sat in his damaged command chair, watching Earth grow larger on the main screen. The Valiant was limping home, her engines damaged and her hull scarred, but she was still flying and her crew was still alive. "Sir," Lieutenant Rodriguez said quietly, "incoming transmission from Earth Command. Put it through." General Cooper's face appeared on the screen. "Captain Morrison, report." "Mission accomplished, sir. We've gathered detailed intelligence on alien capabilities and tactics. The data is being transmitted now. Casualties? 3 ships lost. 36 crew members killed in action." Cooper nodded grimly. "Their sacrifice will not be forgotten." "How long do we have?" "The aliens are taking their time. They think we're helpless." "I estimate they'll begin planetary bombardment within 72 hours. Understood. Return to base immediately. We have work to do." Jake cut the transmission and turned to his crew. They had done their job, but the real war was just beginning. The aliens thought they had faced Earth's military, but they were wrong. The Earth Defense Force was just the beginning, just the visible tip of humanity's true preparations. In hidden bases around the world, in secret facilities on the moon, in construction yards hidden in deep space, humanity's real military was waiting. The aliens had no idea what was coming. Admiral Vexthala stood in the war room of his flagship. Studying the holographic display of Earth, the planet hung before him like a blue jewel, defenseless and ready for conquest. His fleet had taken position in Earth's orbit, and the humans had not attempted another attack. "The enemy fleet has retreated to their home world," reported his intelligence officer. "Our scouts show they are hiding in their atmosphere, probably preparing for a final desperate stand." The admiral nodded. This was exactly what he had expected. The humans had shown their full military strength in that first battle, and it was laughably weak. 12 ships total, 3 of them destroyed, the rest too damaged to fight effectively. No species in galactic history had ever fallen so easily. "Begin the bombardment of their military installations," he ordered. "Target their spaceports, their weapon factories, their communication centers. Leave the cities alone for now. Once they see we can destroy their infrastructure, they will surrender." On Earth, the bombardment began at dawn. Bright beams of energy lanced down from the alien ships, turning military bases into smoking craters. The humans watched helplessly as their defenses were systematically destroyed. At least that was how it appeared to the aliens watching from orbit. In reality, the bases being destroyed were decoys. Empty buildings filled with fake equipment, designed to look important from space. The real military installations were hidden deep underground, protected by technology the aliens had never seen. Colonel Lisa Martinez walked through the corridors of the Cheyenne Mountain Complex, now serving as Earth's primary war command center. The facility extended far deeper than most people knew, with levels that had been carved out of solid rock over the past decade. Here, thousands of people worked around the clock on humanity's real defense. "How are the aliens reacting?" asked General Cooper as Martinez entered the main command room. "Exactly as predicted," Martinez replied. "They're destroying the decoy installations we prepared. Their bombardment pattern shows they believe they're crippling our military capacity." "And the public?" The cover story is holding. "Most people think the lights in the sky are meteor showers. The news is reporting technical difficulties at the destroyed bases, not alien attacks." General Cooper nodded. The deception was working perfectly. The aliens thought they were winning, and the human population remained calm. Both were essential for the real plan to succeed. Dr. Kate Sullivan entered the room, carrying a tablet full of data. "The alien attack patterns confirm our intelligence analysis. They're following standard Zephyrion conquest protocols: destroy military infrastructure, then demand surrender. If refused, they'll begin targeting population centers." "How long do we have?" Cooper asked. "Based on their previous conquests, they'll wait 3 days for surrender. If we don't respond, they'll start destroying cities. They want to rule us, not exterminate us, so they'll be careful not to damage too much." In the depths of Antarctica, Commander Ben Torres supervised the construction of humanity's true weapons. The facility was enormous, carved out of ice and rock, hidden from every known form of detection. Here, the real Earth military was being born. "Status report," Torres requested as he walked through the construction bay. "First squadron of Reaper-class ships will be ready in 4 months," reported Chief Engineer Nancy White. "The production line is running ahead of schedule." Torres looked up at the massive ship taking shape above him. It was 10 times larger than anything in the official Earth Defense Force, covered in armor that could deflect energy weapons and equipped with technology that would seem impossible to the aliens. Most importantly, it was invisible to Zephyrian sensors. "What about the other facilities?" he asked. "The Luna base has completed 12 ships," White replied. "The asteroid facilities are producing at full capacity. The deep space yards are operational, but still hidden in the nebula." Torres smiled. The aliens thought they were fighting Earth's only military force. They had no idea that humanity had been preparing for this war for 20 years, back on the surface. Captain Jake Morrison met with the survivors of the first battle. The remaining 9 ships of the Earth Defense Force were hidden in underground hangars, being repaired and upgraded. But to the aliens, they appeared to be humanity's last desperate hope. The aliens are demanding our surrender, Morrison told his captains. They want to meet with our leaders tomorrow. Captain Susan Clark of the EDF Defiant leaned forward. Are we going to comply? Yes, but not in the way they expect. We're going to send a delegation, but we're also going to begin the resistance phase of the operation. Clark nodded. She understood her role. On the surface, she would become the leader of Earth's desperate resistance movement. Underground, she would coordinate intelligence gathering and prepare for the real war to come. The next day, the alien delegation landed in New York City. Admiral Vextala himself came down to accept Earth's surrender, confident that this primitive species would submit without further resistance. He was met by General Cooper and a small group of human officials. I am Admiral Vextala of the Zephyrian Empire, he announced. Your military has been defeated. Your infrastructure is destroyed. Surrender now, and your people will be treated fairly under Imperial rule. General Cooper looked tired and defeated. Admiral, we have lost many good people in this conflict. Our military is broken, our defenses are gone. We need time to consider your terms. You have 24 hours, Vextala replied. After that, we will begin destroying your cities until you comply. The admiral returned to his ship, satisfied that the conquest was proceeding normally. The humans were beaten, and they knew it. Soon, Earth would be another jewel in the Zephyrian Empire, but as the alien shuttle lifted off, General Cooper activated a hidden communicator. Phase 2 is initiated. Begin resistance operations. Across the globe, human military units that had been hiding in secret bases began to move. They emerged from underground facilities, from camouflaged positions, from locations the aliens had never detected. But they were careful to appear desperate and poorly equipped. Captain Clark led her team in an attack on an alien supply depot. They used chemical explosives and kinetic weapons, making sure to leave evidence of their primitive technology. The attack succeeded, but barely, and several team members were wounded in the process. The humans are more persistent than expected, reported the Zephyrian base commander. But they're using the same crude weapons we saw in the space battle. Nothing we can't handle. Similar attacks occurred around the world. Human resistance fighters struck alien positions, always appearing to be desperate survivors using outdated equipment. The aliens repelled most attacks easily, which only reinforced their belief that humanity was defeated. In the hidden command center, Dr. Sullivan monitored the alien responses. They're reacting exactly as our psychological profiles predicted. They see organized resistance as proof of desperation, not strength. The beauty of it, General Cooper replied, is that they're right. These are desperate attacks by a defeated enemy. They just don't know we have something else entirely waiting for them. Meanwhile, in the secret facilities, production continued at maximum speed. The moon base launched its first squadron of Shadow Fleet vessels, invisible to alien sensors. The asteroid belt factories completed another batch of quantum torpedoes. The deep space construction yards assembled ships that made the Zephyrian dreadnoughts look like toys. Commander Torres received a report from Admiral Helen Parks, the true commander of Earth's military. The aliens have committed 37 ships to Earth's conquest. Intelligence indicates they consider this a major deployment for such a primitive species. Only 37? Torres laughed. They really have no idea what they're facing. The longer they maintain this belief, the better, Parks replied. Every day they think they're winning is another day we prepare for the real war. The resistance attacks continued for weeks. Captain Clark's forces struck alien positions across the globe, always appearing to be on the verge of defeat but somehow managing to keep fighting. The aliens grew frustrated but not concerned. This was normal for conquered species. These humans are stubborn, Admiral Vextala commented to his staff. But their attacks are becoming less effective. Their weapons are running out, their numbers are dwindling. Soon they will have no choice but to submit. What the Admiral didn't know was that every attack was carefully planned to gather intelligence. The humans were mapping alien defensive systems, studying their technology, learning their tactical patterns. Every failed assault brought Earth closer to victory. In the depths of space, the Shadow Fleet continued to grow. Ships that could bend space and time, weapons that could destroy matter at the quantum level, defensive systems that made the aliens' technology look primitive. And all of it hidden from Zephyrian sensors by technology the aliens didn't even know existed. The deception was perfect. The aliens saw exactly what humanity wanted them to see, a defeated species making one last desperate stand. They had no idea that Earth's real military was just getting started. 6 months had passed since the Zephyrian Empire began their conquest of Earth. Admiral Vexthala had moved his command center to the surface, building a massive fortress where New York City once stood. The human resistance continued to attack his forces, but their efforts were becoming weaker each day. Another supply convoy attacked, reported Sub-Admiral Krylenex during the morning briefing. The humans used the same crude explosives as before. We lost 2 vehicles, but the attackers were driven off. Admiral Vexthala nodded. The pattern had become predictable. The humans would strike fast, cause minor damage, then disappear before his forces could respond properly. It was annoying but not dangerous. Their weapons were still primitive, their numbers were still small. "How many resistance fighters do we estimate remain?" he asked. "Intelligence suggests no more than 10,000 active fighters worldwide," Krylenex replied. "They're scattered, poorly equipped, and running low on supplies. Captain Clark's group appears to be the largest, with maybe 500 members." The Admiral looked at the tactical display showing Earth's continents. Red dots marked known resistance activity. Most were small, isolated groups hiding in mountains or abandoned cities. The largest concentration was in the area once called North America, where Captain Clark operated. "Very well. Begin Phase 3 of the occupation. Start converting the major population centers for Imperial use. The humans will surrender completely once they see their cities being transformed." "What?" Admiral Vexthala didn't know was that, Captain. Susan Clark was sitting in a hidden command center 3 miles beneath his fortress. She watched the alien leader on her screen, transmitted from microsensors her team had placed throughout the alien base. "He's getting comfortable," Clark said to her intelligence officer, Lieutenant Tony Martinez. "Perfect. The more secure they feel, the less they'll be watching for what's really happening." Clark was not actually leading a desperate resistance. She was a decorated officer in humanity's Shadow Fleet, and every attack she led was carefully planned to maintain the illusion of a dying rebellion. Her real job was intelligence gathering, and she was very good at it. "The aliens are bringing up heavy construction equipment," Martinez reported. "They're planning major changes to the cities. This could be our chance to get closer to their main facilities." "Agreed. Plan another attack on their supply lines. Make it look desperate, but get our people close enough to plant the new sensors." 5,000 miles away, Admiral Helen Parks stood in the command center of Omega Station, hidden in the deep ocean beneath the Pacific. The facility was enormous, carved from the seafloor itself, invisible to any known detection method. "Here, humanity's real military prepared for war. Status report?" Parks requested as she entered the main operations room. "Shadow Fleet now numbers 4,000 vessels," reported her Chief of Staff, Commander Rick Stevens. "All major construction facilities are operating at full capacity. The aliens still show no awareness of our activities." Parks studied the holographic display showing Earth's hidden military assets. Bases on the dark side of the moon, construction yards hidden in asteroid fields, manufacturing facilities in the depths of space. The Zephyrians had detected none of them. "What about the deep space reconnaissance?" she asked. "Interesting developments," Stevens replied. "Our long-range scouts report that the Zephyrian Empire considers this a major military commitment. They've assigned nearly 40,000 ships to our sector." Parks smiled. 40,000 ships sounded impressive, but it was less than the Shadow Fleet would have operational within another month. The aliens had no idea they were facing an opponent that could match their entire military. The psychological profile is working perfectly, she continued. They see our resistance as proof of desperation, not strength. Every failed attack convinces them they're winning. In the lunar construction facilities, workers put the finishing touches on the latest batch of Shadow Fleet vessels. These ships were unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. They used quantum engines that could fold space, weapons that operated in multiple dimensions, and defensive systems that made alien technology look primitive. Chief Engineer Nancy White supervised the final testing of the newest ship, the Quantum Reaper. The vessel was 5 times larger than the largest Zephyrian dreadnought, but it was completely invisible to their sensors. More importantly, it could appear and disappear at will, striking from dimensions the aliens didn't know existed. All systems green, reported the test pilot. Quantum drive operational, dimensional shields active, reality anchor functioning normally. Excellent, White replied. Take her out for a full combat test, but stay away from the alien patrol routes. We're not ready to reveal ourselves yet. The Quantum Reaper disappeared, folding space around itself as it jumped to a testing ground near Jupiter. There, it would practice the tactics that would soon shock the galaxy. Back on Earth, the alien occupation continued. The Zephyrians were transforming human cities into imperial facilities, confident that their conquest was nearly complete. They had established mining operations, built communication networks, and begun the process of integrating Earth into their empire. Captain Clark's resistance struck these facilities regularly, always appearing to be on the edge of defeat but somehow managing to keep fighting. Her latest attack targeted an alien communication center in what had once been Los Angeles. Remember, she told her team as they prepared for the mission, make it look desperate. Use chemical explosives, kinetic weapons, nothing that suggests advanced technology. We need to appear like we're using the last of our supplies. The attack went perfectly. Clark's team destroyed the communication center, but lost 3 fighters in the process. The aliens repelled the assault, captured some primitive weapons, and reported another sign of human desperation. The resistance is weakening, reported the local alien commander. Their attacks are becoming less coordinated, their equipment is failing. I estimate they have supplies for maybe another month. Admiral Vexthala received the report with satisfaction. The conquest was proceeding exactly as planned. The humans were stubborn, but they were losing. Soon, Earth would be fully integrated into the Zephyrian Empire. What he didn't know was that in the deepest parts of space, humanity's true military was conducting the largest mobilization in galactic history. Ships that could destroy planets, weapons that could tear holes in reality, defensive systems that made entire fleets invisible. Commander Torres received a priority message from Admiral Parks. The aliens are planning to bring online their planetary cracker next month. They want to demonstrate their power by splitting one of our moons in half. Perfect, Torres replied. Let them commit to that operation. The more resources they put into their demonstration, the more they'll have to lose when we reveal ourselves. The planetary cracker was the Zephyrian Empire's ultimate weapon. A massive device that could literally crack worlds in half. It was used to intimidate species into surrender. The aliens were bringing it to Earth's system too, and any remaining human resistance. Dr. Kate Sullivan monitored the alien preparations from her laboratory deep beneath Antarctica. The facility had grown enormously over the past months, now housing some of humanity's most advanced technology. Here, scientists worked on weapons that would make the planetary cracker look like a toy. The quantum disruption torpedoes are ready, she reported to Admiral Parks. One shot can remove a target from existence itself. Not destroyed, not damaged, simply removed from reality. And the dimensional shields? Operational. Any ship equipped with them can exist in multiple dimensions simultaneously. Enemy weapons will pass right through them. Parks nodded. Humanity had not been idle during their supposed defeat. Every day the aliens spent celebrating their victory was another day. Humanity prepared for the real war. In the hidden facilities, production continued at maximum speed. The moon bases launched new ships daily. The asteroid facilities produced weapons that defied the laws of physics. The deep space yards assembled fleets that could conquer galaxies. Captain Clark received her next mission from Admiral Parks. The aliens are planning their final demonstration. They want to show off their planetary cracker, prove they can destroy worlds. We need to make sure they commit fully to this operation. How desperate should we appear? Clark asked. Completely. Make them think we're planning one last desperate attack on their weapon. Let them think they're about to crush our final hope. Clark smiled. The aliens had no idea what was coming. They thought they were facing a dying species making one last stand. They had no idea they were about to face the full might of humanity's Shadow Fleet. The deception was almost complete. Soon, the galaxy would learn that humanity's greatest strength was not their technology or their weapons, but their ability to make their enemies defeat themselves through their own assumptions. The true army was ready. It was time to drop the mask. Admiral Vextela stood on the observation deck of his fortress, watching the massive planetary cracker charge its weapons. The enormous device hung in Earth's orbit like a metallic moon, its energy collectors glowing brighter with each passing hour. Tomorrow, he would demonstrate the true power of the Zephyrian Empire by splitting Earth's moon in half. "Sir, the weapon will be fully charged by dawn," reported his weapons officer. "The demonstration should convince any remaining humans to surrender immediately." The admiral nodded. The planetary cracker was the Empire's most feared weapon. It had broken the will of dozens of species across the galaxy. Once the humans saw their moon destroyed, they would realize that resistance was pointless. "Any word from the resistance leader, Clark?" he asked. "Our intelligence suggests she is planning one final attack," replied Sub-Admiral Krillenex. "Probably a desperate attempt to damage the planetary cracker before it can fire." Vextela almost felt sorry for the humans. They had fought bravely, but they were hopelessly outmatched. Their primitive weapons could not even scratch the planetary cracker's shields. This final attack would be nothing more than suicide. Deep beneath the Earth's surface, Captain Susan Clark received her final orders from Admiral Parks. The time for deception was over. Tomorrow, humanity would reveal its true strength to the galaxy. "All Shadow Fleet units are in position," Parks reported over the secure communication channel. "When you give the signal, we will begin the revelation." Clark looked at her tactical display. Hidden throughout the solar system, thousands of human ships waited in dimensional hiding places. The aliens had no idea they were surrounded. "Remember," Parks continued, "we want them to commit fully to their demonstration. The more ships they have in the system, the more complete their defeat will be." Clark activated her communicator and sent a message directly to Admiral Vextela. It was time to spring the trap. "Admiral Vextela, this is Captain Susan Clark of the Earth Resistance. I have a message for you." The message reached the alien fortress within seconds. Vextela was curious enough to listen. Perhaps the human leader was finally ready to surrender. "Admiral," Clark's voice was calm and confident, "I want to give you one last chance to withdraw your forces and leave our system peacefully." Vextela laughed. A human was either brave or insane. "Captain Clark, you are hardly in a position to make demands. Your resistance is finished, your weapons are useless, and tomorrow we will demonstrate what happens to species that defy the Empire." "You have been fighting our training units," Clark replied. "Our police force, our weekend warriors. You have never faced the human military. The true army hasn't even arrived yet." The Admiral's laughter stopped. Something in the human's voice made him uneasy, but that was impossible. His scouts had mapped the entire system. There were no hidden human forces. "You are bluffing," he said finally. "Admiral Parks," Clark continued, "would you like to introduce yourself?" Suddenly, space around Earth began to change. Reality itself seemed to bend and twist as thousands of ships materialized from nowhere. They appeared from dimensional hiding places, from quantum stealth fields, from temporal displacement chambers that existed outside normal time. The Zephyrian sensors went completely insane. Where moments before they had detected only empty space, now showed massive human battleships that dwarfed even the largest alien dreadnoughts. Each Shadow Fleet vessel radiated energy signatures that exceeded anything in the Zephyrian database. Impossible, Vexthala whispered. Where did they come from? A new voice spoke across all Zephyrian communication channels. It was calm, professional, and absolutely terrifying. Admiral Vexthala, this is Admiral Helen Parks of the Human Shadow Fleet. You have been fighting our children, our police force, our weekend warriors. You have never faced the human military. Vexthala stared at his tactical display in horror. The screen showed thousands of human ships, each one larger and more advanced than anything his species had ever built. How had they hidden such a massive fleet? This is impossible, he said out loud. Our sensors would have detected them. Your sensors can only detect things that exist in your dimension, Parks replied. Human technology operates on principles your science has not yet discovered. The planetary cracker, the pride of the Zephyrian fleet, suddenly went silent. Its massive energy collectors had been severed by weapons that seemed to cut through space itself. The device that could crack worlds had been disabled in seconds. How? Vexthala demanded. Quantum torpedoes, Parks explained calmly. They exist in multiple dimensions simultaneously. Your shields cannot stop something that attacks from outside your reality. On Earth's surface, Captain Clark watched the alien fortress through her sensors. Inside, she could see the panic spreading through the alien command center. Their confident conquest had become a nightmare in minutes. Admiral Parks to all Zephyrian forces, the Shadow Fleet commander continued. You have 30 seconds to begin withdrawal procedures. If you do not comply, we will demonstrate why humanity remained hidden until now. Vexthala looked at his tactical officer. How many enemy ships are we facing? Sensors show over 5,000 vessels, sir. Each one appears to be more advanced than our best dreadnoughts. Impossible. No species in the galaxy has technology this advanced. Admiral, Park's voice came over the communicator again. You are not fighting a species from this galaxy. The statement hit like a physical blow. Vexthala realized that humanity was not what they appeared to be. These were not primitive natives who had barely reached their own moon. They were something far more dangerous. The 30 seconds expired. Admiral Parks gave a simple order to her fleet. Fire. The weapons that struck the Zephyrian fleet were unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. Quantum torpedoes that existed in multiple dimensions simultaneously. Energy beams that bypassed shields by attacking the fabric of spacetime itself. Kinetic projectiles that accelerated past light speed through dimensional manipulation. In the first salvo, half the Zephyrian fleet simply ceased to exist. Not destroyed, not damaged, but removed from reality itself. Ships that had conquered. Star systems vanished as if they had never been built. Retreat! Vexthala screamed into his communicator. All ships emergency jumped to hyperspace, but it was too late. The Shadow Fleet had weapons that could track vessels through hyperspace, across dimensions, and even through time itself. As the Zephyrian ships tried to flee, human vessels appeared ahead of them, having somehow traveled faster than instantaneous communication. This is Admiral Parks to Admiral Vexthala, came the calm voice over the chaos. Your fleet is surrounded. Surrender now, and your crews will be treated according to galactic law. Vexthala looked at his tactical display. Of his original 40,000 ships, less than 5,000 remained operational. The humans had destroyed most of his fleet in minutes, using weapons that seemed to violate the laws of physics. What are you? He asked quietly. We are humanity, Parks replied. We are what your species might become, given a few million years of evolution and the wisdom to remain hidden until we were ready. The surviving Zephyrian ships powered down their weapons and surrendered. The fastest conquest in Empire history. had become the most complete defeat in galactic memory. Captain Clark received a signal from Admiral Parks. Cleanup operations beginning. Prepare for Phase 5. Clark activated her communicator and sent a message to every government on Earth. This is Captain Clark to all world leaders. The deception is over. It is time to reveal the truth to our people. Around the globe, hidden facilities began to emerge from underground. The real human military stepped out of the shadows. Ships that had been invisible became visible. The truth about humanity's preparations was finally revealed. Admiral Vextala sat in his command chair, staring at the tactical display showing the massive human fleet. How long have you been preparing for this war? We have been preparing since before your empire existed, Parks replied. Humanity learned long ago that the safest way to survive in a dangerous galaxy is to appear weaker than you really are. The revelation was complete. The galaxy's most feared empire had been defeated by a species they considered primitive. And the most terrifying part was that the humans claimed this was still not their full strength. The Shadow Fleet was just Earth's local defense force. Somewhere in the vast darkness of space, humanity's true military waited and watched. The news traveled across the galaxy faster than light itself. The Zephyrian Empire, conqueror of 12 star systems and terror of the Outer Rim, had been completely destroyed by a species most governments had never heard of. The humans of Earth had accomplished something no civilization in galactic history had ever managed. They had defeated the Empire's entire invasion force without losing a single ship. In the Galactic Council chambers on Nexus Prime, representatives from dozens of species gathered in emergency session. The holographic display showed the battle statistics, and the numbers were impossible to believe. 40,000 Zephyrian ships destroyed or captured. Less than 100 escaped to tell the tale. The human casualties, 0. According to the testimony of Admiral Vextala, announced Counselor Printer, his voice shaking, the human Admiral Parks made the following statement after the battle. You have been fighting our exploration scouts and colonial defense forces. The Shadow Fleet was our secondary reserve. The true human empire has been watching from outside this galaxy. The chamber erupted in panicked voices. If the humans possessed forces capable of monitoring from beyond the galaxy itself, then no. Species was truly safe. The beings that had just destroyed the Zephyrian Empire claimed to be merely a local defense force. Order! Order! Printer called out. We must approach this situation carefully. The humans have demonstrated overwhelming military superiority, but they have also shown restraint. They could have destroyed the Zephyrian survivors, but chose to accept their surrender instead. Counselor Zirak of the Andromedan Collective stood up. We must open diplomatic channels immediately. If these humans are as powerful as they claim, we need to know their intentions. On Earth, Admiral Helen Parks stood in her command center, now relocated to the surface for the first time in decades. The planet showed no signs of the recent battle. Shadow Fleet weapons had been precise enough to avoid any damage to Earth or its people. Admiral, reported Captain Steve Johnson, we are receiving communication requests from 47 different governments. The Andromedan Collective wants to discuss mutual defense treaties. The Centauri Republic is offering technology exchanges. Even the isolated vegan empire is asking for diplomatic contact. Parks nodded as she studied the incoming messages. Fear was a powerful motivator, but it was not the foundation she wanted for humanity's galactic relationships. Draft a response to the Galactic Council, she ordered. Tell them that Earth seeks peaceful relations with all species. We will share our defensive technology with those who prove themselves trustworthy allies. We have no interest in conquest or empire building. Captain Susan Clark, now revealed as Parks' intelligence chief, entered the command center with a detailed analysis of galactic reactions. The psychological impact has been enormous, she reported. 17 species have already offered to surrender to us, thinking we plan to replace the Zephyrian Empire. Others are forming defensive alliances against us. Both reactions are understandable, Parks replied. They need time to realize we are not conquerors. Send a message to all galactic governments. Earth will defend its interests and those of its allies. But we seek cooperation, not domination. The message that went out across the galaxy was simple but carefully crafted. The human species of Earth requests formal recognition as a sovereign galactic power. We have demonstrated our defensive capabilities against those who would threaten us. We now wish to demonstrate our capacity for peace and cooperation. The choice of how we proceed lies with the galactic community. The response was immediate and overwhelming. Within hours, the Galactic Council voted unanimously to recognize Earth as a major galactic power. Trade agreements, cultural exchange programs, and defensive pacts followed quickly. Species that had ignored humanity's existence now competed for human attention and alliance. Dr. Kate Sullivan, now Earth's chief science advisor, found herself overwhelmed with requests for technology sharing. Admiral, we have received formal requests from 32 different species for access to our dimensional shielding technology. The Regellian Confederation is offering their entire star charts in exchange for quantum engine blueprints. Parks considered the requests carefully. Humanity's technology was centuries ahead of anything else in the galaxy, but sharing it too freely could upset the balance of power. Begin with medical technology and basic energy systems, she decided. Nothing that could be used for weapons. Until we know more about these species. The transformation of galactic politics was rapid and dramatic. The Zephyrian Empire, which had terrorized the galaxy for centuries, was now a collection of defeated refugees asking for asylum. Their former subjects celebrated their freedom, while their former enemies sought human protection against other threats. Admiral Vextella, now a prisoner on a comfortable human facility, was interviewed by galactic news services. His testimony shocked the galaxy even more than the battle itself. They knew everything about us, he told the reporters. Our tactics, our technology, our psychology. They have been studying us for years, maybe decades. When their Admiral Park spoke to me, she knew details about Zephyrian history that our own generals had forgotten. The interviewer pressed for more details. How long do you think they have been watching the galaxy? Vextella was quiet for a long moment. I think they have been watching since before we became an empire. I think they have been watching everyone. Hissa. Words sent another wave of fear and wonder through the galactic community. If humanity had been observing galactic civilization for centuries without being detected, what else might they know? General Frank Cooper, now Earth's first galactic ambassador, addressed these concerns in his first speech to the Galactic Council. Humanity has indeed been observing galactic civilization for some time. We needed to understand the political and social structures we might encounter. However, our observations were limited to public communications and historical records. We have not violated any species' privacy or sovereignty. The explanation calmed some fears but raised new questions about human capabilities. If they could monitor galactic communications without being detected, what other technologies did they possess? Commander Rick Stevens, formerly of the EDF Valiant and now captain of the Shadow Fleet vessel Infinity, led the first official human diplomatic mission to the galactic capital. His ship alone caused a sensation. It was larger than most space stations, equipped with technology that seemed impossible, and completely invisible to conventional sensors when it chose to be. The humans have changed everything, observed Counselor Zerif of the Tau Ceti Alliance. For the first time in galactic history, we have encountered a species that is clearly more advanced than everyone else, but shows no interest in ruling us. Trade between Earth and other worlds began almost immediately. Humans offered advanced medical technology, clean energy systems, and agricultural improvements in exchange for rare materials, cultural artifacts, and scientific knowledge. The exchanges were always fair, often generous, but they demonstrated the vast gap between human and galactic technology. Captain Clark, now leading Earth's intelligence service, monitored these early relationships carefully. Some species are becoming dependent on our technology, she reported to Admiral Parks. The Bellatrix colonies have completely rebuilt their medical system around our nanobotic healing devices. The Pollux Federation has replaced their entire energy grid with our fusion systems. Is this a problem? Parks asked. Not yet, but it could become one. We need to help them develop their own technology rather than just giving them ours. Parks nodded. The last thing humanity wanted was to accidentally create an empire through technological dependence. As the months passed, Earth's position in galactic politics stabilized. Humanity became known as the galaxy's protectors, willing to defend peaceful species against aggressors but uninterested in controlling them. Several times, human ships intervened to stop conflicts between other species, always with minimal force and maximum effectiveness. The Zephyrian refugees were eventually resettled on worlds provided by the Galactic Council, with human medical technology helping to heal the psychological wounds of their defeat. Many former Empire soldiers chose to join the new Galactic Defense Force, commanded jointly by human and alien officers. Admiral Parks often stood in her command center, looking at the displays showing human ships patrolling throughout the galaxy. The deception was over, but the mystery remained. Most galactic species still believed that Earth's Shadow Fleet was humanity's primary military force. They had no idea that in the deepest reaches of space, monitoring stations continued their silent watch. These stations were staffed by beings who looked human but whose technology made even the Shadow Fleet appear primitive. The Watchers had been observing not just this galaxy, but dozens of others for thousands of years. The true human empire remained hidden, waiting for the day when their services might be truly needed. For now, they were content to let their distant cousins on Earth handle local galactic affairs. In his final log entry as Earth's military commander, Admiral Parks wrote, "We have achieved our primary objective. Humanity is now recognized as a galactic power, and Earth is secure from external threats. The galaxy believes our strength comes from advanced technology.